I posted kind of like a thirst trappy picture the other day in my suit before I went on MSNBC.
I saw that picture. I didn't realize that was a thirst trap. That's interesting.
I don't consider it one. I think you need to be showing some sort of body for it to be a thirst trap.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Tim Miller.
And I'm Cam Kasky, and this is FY Pod, the Bulwark's young people, cool, awesome show. Donald Trump has now said that a lot of people want a dictator, and I think we should take a look at the video. Let's see.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now, and they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying, maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person.
Tim, what's your take on that?
Well, just for starters, I'm going to Chicago on Thursday, so I'm a little concerned to hear that it's a killing field. We were back there. We did a live show in Chicago a couple months ago, and no murders happened during the taping of that show, which I think was apparently a pretty lucky break. On the dictator stuff, I just think that's what we call in the business, Cam, a trial balloon. You know, you kind of just you throw something out there, see how people react to it. It's kind of like, well, I'm not saying I'm a dictator. I'm not saying I want a dictator. I'm just saying that some people are saying that things are so bad we might need a dictator.
He's putting out a feeler.
A feeler, yeah.
He's giving the MAGA commentator world and the conspiracy world sort of a pilot for them to be like, well, you know, if Trump was the dictator, I wouldn't hate it because no matter how much dictating he did, it would be for America first. But I'm really interested in seeing how that goes. How do you feel about people saying that he's starting to provoke a war with the cartels in order to push the elections? Because he had said to Zelensky, like, oh, you canceling elections because of the war. Gee, that's a great idea. Yeah. I like the sound of that. Do you think that this is just a strong arm thing? Because you saw he was sending like big giant destroyer boats out towards outside Mexico, and the rhetoric has started to flare up. Is this a real thing? I feel like I haven't seen that many people talk about it.
Yeah, there were some reports that it was your boy Ken Klippenstein, I think, reported on had a document, an internal DoD document that kind of looked into the ins and outs and what have yous of a potential Mexico cartel war. I don't have as deep of thoughts on the specifics of that. I think at some level Trump is kind of a coward and likes to. He's like a typical schoolyard bully and likes to like talk like, oh, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to be a tough guy. Like when push comes to shove, has not demonstrated that tendency yet, through now first one term and a half a year or so. So that's like been one Trump's kind of personal weakness and being a little bit of a puss and a schoolyard bully is something that's one of the very few things that have worked in our favor during the Trump reign. I will say this, though, just about that little side comment to Zelensky and this comment today. He always does it in kind of a joking tone. What ends up happening then is like MAGA people who want him to be a dictator and who want him to cancel elections get excited about it. And they talk about how it's a good thing. Other MAGA people who like aren't maybe explicitly for it, but like the gag, they talk about how it's funny that he's doing it as a gag. And nobody talks about how it's bad on the right, in like right world. And so it ends up having this effect of like, all of the discourse around this crazy thing is about how it kind of should happen or how it'd be a funny troll. And like we've seen this time and again on like vaccines, on the first Stop the Steal, right? And so I just, even though he is like consciously doing a little tongue-in-cheek thing, a lot of times his tongue-in-cheek things become reality. Like the Muslim ban was a gag at first.
Yeah, it's similar to the way that I flirt. When I'm flirting, I'm normally too insecure to say anything that's directly a flirt because I'm afraid that somebody doesn't like me. So what I like to do is I like to make any flirtatious comment that I'm making funny enough that if someone isn't interested, they sort of have the out of laughing it off. Yeah. Whereas if they are interested, they can signal in one way or another being flattered. Yeah. And it seems like that's the Trump model, right? It starts as a joke, and then the people who choose to take it as a joke will do so. And then the other people, and I think there's also a bit of a crescendo where because I a lot of the right-wing Twitter accounts I follow just to keep up with how MAGA is reacting to this stuff. I see that you follow them as well, so I'm sure you are tracking this pattern. A lot of them will start it with recognizing it as the funny joke, and then you'll see them escalate over time into straight up agreeing with and believing it. So
yeah, I like that parallel between. I like how you are Trump in the analogy that you gave.
Look,
so that Trump's dictatorship gambit is similar to how you flirt with actresses.
I was cutting the clips from my MSNBC or informally MS appearance this weekend, and I was just looking at the way I was gesticulating, and I was doing so many Trump hands. I personally think that's good presentation skills. My mom calls me Muppet hands.
Okay.
But, I don't not have a couple things in common with the guy. As a matter of fact, I want to throw up a clip right now of me this weekend. I see young people not desperate for young candidates. I mean, so many of the young people I know who don't get excited about the Democratic Party do get excited about Bernie Sanders, one of the oldest guys in the entire world, because he is presenting them with ideas that give them something that makes them feel like they're fighting and makes them feel like we're charting a path forwards. But right now, if I were telling somebody, hey, register to vote with the Democratic Party, and they ask me, what does it mean to be a Democrat? What will I be fighting for? I don't really know, because the Democratic Party is too busy tying its own shoelaces together on a variety of issues. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys how good my Bernie impersonation is, but there's something I really want to see you react to, because this is like prime Tim content. The second I saw this video, I was like, I need a live react from Tim. You tweeted about it, but I want everybody on the show to see this as well. Dean Cain, disgraced former Superman, has been training for ICE. As Tim pointed out, he doesn't know what rights the immigrants that he's going to be detaining actually have. But more than that, he also doesn't seem like he's necessarily in the shape to be doing this, much less doing so with like the administration posting videos as if this is something people ought to be intimidated by. Let's take a look.
And so this time, Dean Cain isn't flying there. He's going through that obstacle course and training to be an honorary ICE agent. He was working hard out there, and this is exactly what those recruits will do as they're picked one by one. And they're at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Brunswick, Georgia. This place is amazing.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it one more time.
And so this time, Dean Cain isn't flying there. He's going through that obstacle course and training to be an honorary ICE agent. He was working hard out there, and this is exactly what those recruits will do as they're picked one by one. And they're at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Brunswick, Georgia. This place is amazing.
What stamina? What power?
MS13 just texted me that they're fucking terrified. But real quick, I want to show you another clip that this Dean Cain shit reminds me of. This is Steven Seagal doing his personal form of combat called Aikido. Let's check it out. I mean, you can already see the parallels.
Oh, yeah.
Some, like, not really in shape, old dude, kind of looks tired. Oh, you got him.
He's barely moving his body parts. The other guy's doing all the work.
He's just kind of pushing him down.
That looks kind of like me with some of Toulouse's friends on the weekend. You know, they're trying to jump on me in the playground, just knocking him over. The Dean Cain thing, I'm tempted to watch it one more time. But do you think he knew they were putting it out as a highlight reel? You would think that he would have, like, is he not capable of moving any faster than that? I had multiple people ask me if it was in slow motion. I mean, when he's stepping over the guillotine looking thing there, and he can barely get over. Then and he's like, you know, he's got the sex doll that he's like kind of like, you know, sort of walking slowly backwards with.
You'd think this would be leaked footage that sort of was the reveal that Dean Cain was stumbling through it was kind of like Santa Claus trying to get down the chimney. But no, this is something that they're posting. I don't know if it's to intimidate the migrants who they want to tremble with fear.
Self-deport.
Dean Cain is going to come after them, or if they thought that this was some sort of badass thing.
I mean, the Fox News broadcaster there was playing it straight. I mean, she wasn't even deadpanning it. She was just like, look at him, look at him go. Look at him, get him going out there.
Evildoers and nannies who are taking children to the park, watch out, because Dean Cain is going to try and squeeze himself through 2 bars to come after you.
It's really, like, it's important to point and laugh at them. Pointing and laughing at them is important. But like, sometimes you ever just sit back and think, how have we gotten here? Like, how have these people consolidated enough power and enough public support that they are now, running migrant camps and like taking guys who are doing the gardening outside IHOP and putting them into prisons? Like, how have they gotten the support for this if this is like the avatar of their propaganda? I mean, Goebbels is spinning in his grave right now. Like, it's like they couldn't do something better. The propaganda can't be better than this.
It's like the banality of evil, except the cringe of evil. Yes. Like, if we were going to have a billionaire Bond villain go in and rip cancer research apart, you'd think it would be somebody at least a little bit more charismatic than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But our villains today, other than Trump, who's obviously filled with charisma, our villains today are so fucking pathetic. Yeah. Like J.D. Vance as Trump's evil right-hand man, Mike Pence was so much more fit for the job because there was something so sinister about it. He looked like an X-Men villain, but JD Vance is like such a fucking loser who, I was talking with on the FY Pod spinoff channel that you all ought to subscribe to and leave a comment down below who your favorite contributor is, even though we all know it's Snacks the Hip Hopper. But we were talking about this, like, JD Vance is currently being propped up by MAGA World as the guy who's going to follow Trump up in 2028, but he's going to get eaten alive. As soon as Trump isn't there with him, like they're only doing this and they're only hyping JD up like this because he's currently next to Trump. But JD does not have the sauce to follow that up. And also he has a brown wife and brown children, and the racists who powered the MAGA movement, they're not fucking okay with that. Like, a lot of them on Twitter are already tweeting out the most disgusting things about Usha and JD's kids. So it's like, how could anyone possibly expect this guy to be the follow-up to Trump?
I don't know. But then again, on the other hand, it's like the face of the propaganda wars is a pudgy former Superman who can barely get through an obstacle course. And I guess that's working. They're getting ICE people. To your point, I do have to, this is a safe space here at FY Pod. We tell you the truth as we see it, right? We're not bullshitting you. It's not just resist lib propaganda. We do a lot of resist lib stuff here because we love and honor resist libs. But to your point about how Trump has charisma, did you see his bleat about Chris Christie this weekend?
No, my God.
This is, I just like, you hate to hand it to the guy. He writes, I just watched sloppy Chris Christie be interviewed on a ratings challenge news show this week with George Slopadopoulos. It's a double slop there on ABC Fake News. And then he drops in a parentheses. By the way, what the hell happened to Jonathan Karl's hair? He looks absolutely terrible. End parentheses. And it's just like, that's material right there. And the president of the United States, it's unclear why he's doing that. But, just in a post where he threatens to jail Chris Christie, he does a parenthetical aside making fun of a newscaster's hairdo. J.D. Vance couldn't do that.
This is how you know how legit the narrative that this was going to be Trump's retribution tour, this new administration is, because he's going after perceived enemies of his that are completely irrelevant at this point, which is how you know this is all just straight up petulance. I remember there were people, including Democrats, who were sort of playing down another Trump administration is going to just be a revenge war narrative. A lot of them were saying like, no, it's not going to be. A lot of people were even saying this could be a more chill and tempered Trump his second time around. But with the stuff that happened with John Bolton, where the Bulwark was on the ground reporting live,
thank you,
we're seeing that this is going to be Trump going after his ops, including ops of his that really aren't a big deal. They just personally piss him off. Like, Trump gets personally triggered by perceived enemies that don't even pose a real threat to him. Like, who has talked about Chris Christie since, before his 2023 campaign anyway?
I can answer this. It's the grandpa. He's an old man who watches the stories on TV, and his stories is the news. And so if you show up on a cable news show or a Sunday show while he's at the golf club, sitting there, at the 19th hole, watching the news program on, if you say something bad about him, then he's going to say you should be jailed.
He likes to be a really great friend to have. He likes the people who he wants to be friendly with to say, oh, I got to play into Trump's hand and I got to give him because he's such a good guy. And I mean, when he was tempting the on the fence Republicans about voting for the big ugly bill, got him. I didn't call it the big beautiful bill. So like Chuck Schumer, I'm not granting him that name. I'm a fighter like that. I'm in the opposition party. I don't know if you saw the stories that he was bringing the on the fence Republicans into his office and giving them like signed merch. He was like, go pick out anything from the Trump Golf Club store.
Yeah. Give me a Trump was right about everything hat.
Yeah. He likes to be a good friend to have, and he loves to be a bad enemy. So this Bolton stuff is just a sign to anybody who has pissed him off. It's like, I'm coming for you. And if you are someone who is on the way to pissing him off, I'm going to come for you as well. But what's your take on, I'm sure you've talked about this on other shows, but just really quick, what's your take on the Bolton stuff in terms of what this means for how he's going to go after the rest of his list?
I do get a laugh on the Bolton thing. The Wall Street Journal editorial board, they're against the Bolton raid, and they said it's turning out to be, quote, worse than we imagined about Trump's revenge tour. It's like, well, somehow a 24-year-old college dropout who just watched the news last year was able to identify that Trump was going to be on a revenge tour. But the people who write editorials for the Wall Street Journal have been surprised. They've been caught off guard. It's been a little worse than we imagined.
Hey everyone, FY Pod is sponsored by OneSkin. Look, everyone needs a skincare routine, and you should not be neglecting your face. Friends do not let friends go without a skincare routine, which is why I'm peer pressuring many of my friends into using OneSkin. I have a skincare routine of my own. I totally put on sunscreen all the time. I never neglect to do that. You know, I'm pale, so I should be putting sunscreen on or else I'm going to age poorly. OneSkin has become part of my own daily routine. Their proprietary OS01 peptide is the first ingredient proven to switch off the damaged senescent cells that cause lines, wrinkles, and thin, crepey skin. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are certified safe for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested, and approved by independent testing platforms like SkinSafe. Founded and led by an all-woman team of skin longevity scientists, OneSkin's products are backed by extensive lab and clinical data to validate their efficacy and safety on all skin types. They've got over 6,300 five-star reviews for their full line of face, body, sun, and travel-size products. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using the code FY Podcast at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with the code FY Podcast. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you, and give your skin the scientifically proven gentle care it deserves with OneSkin. Well, I don't know if this was Wall Street Journal or The Hill or something, but there was one piece that happened. I'm sure you saw this because it went viral on Twitter, where they said Kamala Harris says that Trump is going to be sending the army after the people who disagree with him. She took it too far. Like, they were saying Kamala was being,
I think that was The Hill,
with all those statements. And again, it's just, we're seeing even the most inflammatory statements that were being made in 2024 not only coming true, but having been understatements.
Yeah. The anyway, back to your question to me about the Bolton thing. Man, to me, it's like the actual case itself is not particularly scary. I don't think that John Bolton has anything to worry about, unless, who knows, Kash Patel and his crack team have identified some secret crime that they haven't revealed to us yet. But it is a message to people that they shouldn't speak out against him. And I think that in aggregate, that is a very dictatory thing to do, and can have some very dangerous harms as this thing continues to escalate. Because it's like, if the threat is, we're going to send FBI agents into your house at 7 a.m. and fucking freak out your wife and like go through all your shit and take stuff out for like some 5-year-old nothing classified documents thing, then what message does that send to other people that might be whistleblowers that might want to speak out? You know what that reminded me of? I haven't thought about this in years, and it goes to show how
crazy my late teens were that I haven't thought about this in years. Do you know that I got swatted?
I don't know if I knew that about you, actually. Your family, your parents' family home, or your
both
apartment?
of my parents' houses. My mom in Parkland and my dad about half hour outside of Parkland.
Like the same day?
The same day at the same time. We ended up having to have private security outside of my house, just parked for a while. But I got swatted. I think 2 of the other Parkland kids got swatted. And I felt so bad because I was on an airplane. So it was like my little sister who was home. And that was so fucked up. Ugh. But anyway, sorry, you just unearthed a childhood memory of mine.
What happened with your sister home? Like what actually happened?
I don't remember all the details because it was kind of fuzzy and my family sort of came to this agreement that we were just going to really not talk about it.
Yeah.
But there's this thing in Florida called the Sunshine Laws.
Yeah.
Where if your family or if somebody is involved either with public government stuff or a lawyer, you can just get that person's home address very easily.
Right. Yeah.
And my father and stepfather are both, Florida bar lawyers.
Yeah. Got it.
So people were able to find that out really quickly. But it was part of the sort of 4chan, very often anti-Semitic conspiracy war against me, because I've talked about this on the show before, but like I was going on TV being a gun grabber, and I am from a Jewish family, and my father and stepfather are lawyers, and my dad and my grandpa were adoption lawyers. And obviously the conspiracy people are going to be like, Jewish adoption lawyer? Oh, human trafficking from Russia.
Yeah, right.
So that was the narrative there. And it led to me getting swatted. I don't remember if they ended up convicting the person who did it, but there were a bunch of stalker and swatter and stuff like that convictions from Parkland. There was one, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but like there was one that was really sad for me because there was somebody who was harassing me and a lot of the victims' families online. I don't remember if they harassed our last guest, Robert Shentrup, from our Saturday episode that you all ought to watch because it was a really great, meaningful interview. But a lot of the victims' families were getting harassed by this guy. This guy was sending me emails that the person I was closest to who was killed in the shooting, a guy named Scott, who I had known for many years. He was sending me emails just kind of mocking Scott's death, and he was blowing me up on social media. And I was concerned that he was going to find me in person and fuck with me because other people had. Right. Like some of the people from the 4chan crowds stalked and harassed me in person when I was so young, and people wonder why I'm so poorly adjusted. But it ended up being that this guy was super autistic. And I have an autistic little brother. I grew up around neurodivergent people, and I just can't help but think, like, if my little brother didn't have such a supportive family who had the resources to get him the help that he needed, I don't know how he could have turned out. And I don't know if. So when I see these people who are clearly neurodivergent and have developmental disabilities and doing such evil things and everything, I refused to press charges or testify against him because I was like, I'm sorry, this kid needs help. Like, I can't hate him for being someone who probably lacked the resources to, put him in a positive position. Like, it was so sad. There was a trial. I don't remember what ended up happening because there were just so many instances like this. But this brings me to my next subject, which is, are you familiar with Labubus?
I am.
I matched with this girl on Hinge, and I ended up making a plan to go on a date with her. She is so stunning. She is like one of the most attractive people I've ever talked to. And we had a date set, but then I got invited to go to like an owner's box of the Brewers game in New York. They were playing against the Mets. So I canceled the date and I was like, hey, is there any chance we could reschedule? And she was like, yeah, totally. And then she started ignoring me. But then I posted kind of like a thirst trappy picture the other day in my suit before I went on MSNBC.
I saw that picture. I didn't realize that was a thirst trap. That's interesting.
I don't consider it one. I think you need to have I think you need to be showing some sort of body for it to be a thirst trap. Yeah. But it was being treated like one by the people in the comments and then people swiping up on my story. So I said, okay, I guess we'll throw the picture up right here just so people have context. But she swiped up and she was like, oh my God, so hot. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm actually back in town. Let's hang out. But then she posted a picture of her that looked so beautiful, and it was on a carousel. So there were a couple pictures to swipe through, and one of them had her Labubu. And I just was so instantly icked out that I just straight up don't think I'm making a plan. Dante actually has some images of Labubus. We could throw them up on screen for the audience to see. This is the Zoomer show, so I have to talk about Gen Z stuff. Yeah. Gen Z is freaking out about these things. I don't understand why. It's just one of those trends. And Tim, I wanted your reaction to Labubus. I wanted to see what you had to say about them.
I guess I'll say this. I don't get it. And this is why we have you on this show, because sometimes Gen Z thing happens I just don't get. Number two, I neutrally don't get it. I'm not icked, I don't think. I'm trying to imagine, I guess, in a hypothetical world, if I was single again and I was matching on a social dating app with a younger gay man who had Labubus, that would probably make me uncomfortable, I guess. I don't know if you should make it a hard no for you, but I think that everybody should think about that, and they should comment themselves on whether Cameron should give this nice young lady with the Labubus a second chance. And next Monday, you can give us an update on that, because I have to go to MS right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go the next 6 minutes of the episode. So good seeing you. I'll close us off. Thank you, Tim.
All right, everybody else, I'll be interested to watch Cameron's monologue in post. See you guys all soon. Bye.
Okay, so for me, the problem with the Labubu of it all is I cannot be the more online person that I'm in a relationship with. If I'm going to date somebody, and I don't match with people on apps, except for the gay app Grindr. I don't match with with women on apps just to hook up. Like, that's not interesting to me. That's not something I really like. With men, there's this kind of absolute, I only really like hooking up. I don't like the rest of it. And with women, there's this absolute, I love hooking up and I love taking it to the next level and everything, but only if we like click and get along and everything. So when I do a first date, I mean it as a first date, because I want to get to know somebody. And that's why I don't like movies for first, or frankly, even second dates, maybe date 3. But movie first date is very much okay, this is going to be a hookup date thing, because you can't talk to each other during a movie. Like, and my weapon, I am not a bad looking person, but I'm not cute enough to pull at the level that I swing at, just because I'm just a good looking guy. I need to charm, and I need to be conversational and be someone that seems fun to talk to and everything. So if we're going to a movie, I can't use any of my weapons. My weapons are not my appearance. My appearance is the baseline off of which I build my toolbox, and I assemble my tools that I use. But my tools are socialization skills and listening and caring and asking questions and stuff like that. That's how I survive on the market. And you can't do that at a movie. But I was just going to say, like, I genuinely think if I went on a date with this girl and we got into a situation where we were going to kiss on the lips, like the second the kiss is about to start, the second we're leaning in, I'm just going to think about a Labubu and those fucking teeth that it has, and the way that it seems like it's somebody in like a furry costume with the ears and everything. But I want to do a bonus segment in our last 2.5 minutes. Our producer, who's really great at what he does, Dante, I have to ask you to hop on for a sec. And I want you to give me your take on first dates being movies, because Dante is a big cinema fan. And I want, like, would you do a first date at a movie, or are you kind of in my camp?
I feel like the movie can't be the only thing, Like, I think if you do like a dinner and then a movie, that's an okay first date, because then you have like like a dinner and show.
Let me meet you halfway. What if you did movie and then dinner? Because then at dinner you could talk about the movie.
Yeah, that works too. Well, I mean, to me, it's like you do dinner, you go see the movie, and then you hang out and get a drink or something afterwards and like talk.
Yeah, that's great.
You sandwich the movie in a date.
Yeah, and if you just do the movie and then the dinner, there's a chance, especially if you're someone like you and me, there's a chance that too much of the dinner is dedicated to talking about the movie, and you're not getting through all of the necessary first questions when you're like the get to know you stuff. I went on a date. I actually don't know if this was a date or just like a hangout, but we matched on Raya, which is like the cloud chaser dating app. And then we just ended up connecting and we hung out. We went to the diner that I really like. And then we went to go see How to Train Your Dragon, which was produced by the company that I used to work at. So it was very much kind of a family project for me. But in How to Train Your Dragon, the Vikings built trebuchets on a volcanic island that they invaded. And there were no trees on the island. And Viking longships do not have the storage room for raw materials. So when the longships landed, there were no trees, there were no trebuchets, and then we cut back to another island, and then we cut back to the volcanic island, and there's catapults, and I'm like, where did they get the materials to build this? Also, Vikings don't do siege warfare, they raid. So I don't understand, like, catapults are part of siegecraft if you look at medieval warfare. So I don't understand what the fuck was going on with that. And also, they drove wooden stakes into the ground, which is something that happens in like medieval siege combat, but you drive the stakes in the direction of the people in front of you so you could break up the cavalrymen and they can't bring the horses to assault you. They put the wooden stakes behind them, basically ensuring that they were trapping themselves in case they needed to retreat.
So, and were you doing this on the date? So
that's the problem, is that after the movie, I just would not stop talking about this. And she and I have actually stayed in touch. We haven't seen each other since because she's been spending all summer in Europe.
I'm sure that's the reason.
Yeah, I do wonder if because we had a great time hanging out for several hours beforehand. But I do wonder if she just refers to me to her friends as How to Train Your Dragon Viking trebuchet guy. With Bulwark, I'm Cam Kasky. This guy with the beard right here is Tim Miller. We will see you all soon. Leave a comment down below if you would go on a date to How to Train Your Dragon live action with me. We'll be seeing you all soon.